we are giving a guided demonstration on how to use the Talus Aspire reading list system. We're going to go through an overview of the new workflow, and then we're also going to provide a detailed demonstration of how to access Talus reading lists, how to edit your lists, how to add new resources, how to publish your lists, and how to embed links in the Blackboard system. We're also briefly going to talk about how Talus Aspire reading lists flow into the Jack course instances. However, if you'd like more information, there's a few different training resources available for you to access: facilitated training, drop-in sessions, e-learning modules available on Workday. I think my colleague Nat is posting in the chat some of these links, but otherwise we'll send out these slides at the end of this session so you can access these resources later. We're also going to be monitoring the chat throughout this session, and we'll pause for questions as well. So without further ado, let's dive into it and start off with, what are Talus Aspire reading lists? Talus is the university's platform for course readings. Why did my PowerPoint just disappear? There we go. Hopefully it's back. It just turned black on my screen for some reason. Okay. University's platform for course readings. It integrates with Jack Course Instance, School Locker, the bookstore, LearnUQ or Blackboard, and also works into the library search as well. Students are able to access the course readings on Talus Aspire through Blackboard, through the course profile, and through UQ Library Search as well. As staff members, what do you do to prepare your course readings in Talus Aspire? So, especially if this is your first time using the new system, when you go into your reading list, we want you to do the sort of following things, and that's what we're going to demonstrate today in our guided session. When you go into Talus Aspire, you should update relevant required texts to required earn copy needed, which is a new reading importance we'll talk more about later. And you should add any new readings that are needed for the semester, add any new readings to your Talus reading list. You add relevant student notes to readings as well. You remove any resources that are no longer needed for this semester. And after making all those changes, publish the list so students can see it. When you publish your Talus reading list, the following things will happen. As I said, students will now be able to see your list. The School Locker bookstore will also receive a list of resources that they should hopefully stock for students to purchase. The Blackboard will also link through to the readings. And anything that's marked as required earn copy needed will automatically flow into the Jack course instance profile, so students can see these before semester starts. The list will also be sent to us, the library staff, and we will go through a review process. And in this review process, we'll check the following things. We'll acquire electronic access where we can. We'll purchase copies of textbooks. We'll check for updated editions. We'll digitize relative chapters or articles. And we'll make sure that copyright and access is working throughout the list. So that's what the library will do once you've hit publish on your reading list in Talus Aspire. Now, I'm going to go through a guided demonstration, as I said, but before I jump into the actual system, I wanted to give you an overview of how Talus Aspire works. Essentially, Talus Aspire is made of two different components: bookmarks and lists. Bookmarks are links to resources which contain metadata. These are privately stored in your My Bookmark area of Talus. And you can create these bookmarks with a browser extension, by manually entering the metadata, or by copying an existing bookmark. And we'll go through all these options later in the talk. Lists, on the other hand, are a curated list of bookmarks. So once you've bookmarked something, you can add this bookmark onto your Talus reading list. And once you publish this list, these lists are then available to others in UQ. So just have that in mind, that Talus has two components: bookmarks and lists. And without further ado, let's actually dive into this demonstration. So, how to actually access Talus Aspire? All staff at UQ should currently have access to edit and publish reading lists. And the easiest way to access your list, is to go to the library search. I hope all of you already know how to use the library search, but if you don't, I'll show you how to access it. All you need to do is go to the UQ homepage, scroll down to the very bottom, and you can click on library. And once in the library search, just type in your course code. And feel free to follow along today, going to library search and typing in your own course code. You can sort of edit things and make changes as we go along today. So, for example, I'm going to type in an economics course. Type that into library search. I have something that looks like this. Okay, once you have this up, just click on this course reading list, click here, and it'll take you through to Talis Aspire. It might prompt you to log in, just log in with your UQ staff details if so. Otherwise, it might just log you in automatically, like it has for me. So, this is Talis Aspire. You might see a couple lists here. Just make sure you click on the correct semester. For example, I'm going to click here on semester 2. And voila, I've got a reading list. So I'm not going to mess around with this list today. This is someone else's list. I'm not going to mess up their good work. I'm going to actually use a training list today. But before I do that, I'll just show you a couple other examples of what reading lists can look like. So for example, this one, you can see it's only 2 items. It's quite short, straight to the point. You can make a list like this if you want, but you can also make it structured, longer, or personalized to how you'd like it to be. So for example, I've got here a media studies reading list, which is really well organized into different weeks. It's got all the readings and it has like a lot of guidance for students. It's got like, here, watch these movies before this week's coursework. I think this one, yeah. So it's just very well structured. It's got a lot of direction for students, and you can make your reading list as detailed as you'd like. We've got this RIT course here as well, which has a lot of student notes, even has cultural safety notes to provide extra context. So you can provide a lot of direction. You can even personalize your list to make it fun if you'd like. We really like this education course because it has emojis throughout. It even makes the weeks rhyme. I think it's just really cute. So you can have fun with your reading list and personalize it however you'd like. But we won't use those lists today. Let's jump into our training list. Okay, so every semester, we roll over previous semester's reading lists. So it's likely you already have something to play around with in your list, as opposed to a blank slate. And editing these items is quite intuitive. I'll post the course codes in the chat at the end of the my little section, so you can search up those course codes later in the session as well. Okay. So editing these items is quite easy. For example, if I wanted to change the importance status of an item, I can just go to here and change this to required own copy needed. Making an item required own copy needed just makes it really clear to students that, hey, we expect you to own a copy of this, whether that's purchasing or just having your own copy that you can access. Just makes it really clear to students that, hey, buy this book. It also shows the bookstore that, hey, we're expecting students to buy this. Maybe you should stock it. And anything marked as required own copy needed automatically flows through to Jack course instances. This way, students can see prior to the start of semester that they should buy this book. Yeah. So that's how you can easily change importance status like so. You can still use required, but required on copy needed is just there if you want to make it really clear to students, buy this. You can also easily move items about. So if I just click on these arrows here, click and drag, I can move these bookmarks around and reorder things like so. If I click on the three dots, I get extra options for editing these bookmarks as well. I can click edit if I want to change any of the metadata or bibliographical details. Like if anything's not showing up right, I can click edit to change the bookmark. If I no longer need it, I can click delete to delete the bookmark. Here it says cut. This just provides you an extra way of moving items about as well. Like clicking and dragging is nice and easy, but if I've got a long list, it can be a little bit annoying to click and drag it all around. Instead, clicking on the three dots, I can click cut, scroll to wherever I want to it on the list. Let's go here. When you see, when I move my mouse about, it has this paste and cancel sort of menu. If I click paste, there's that bookmark. So I'll show that again, clicking on the three dots, clicking cut, scrolling to wherever I want it to go, and paste. It's just another way of moving items about, just another alternative. Clicking on the three dots again, I'm going to add a note for students. This is notes that students can see, and you can use to provide direction to students. For example, content warning here, read pages, blah, blah, blah here. You can use it for student notes like that. You can also use it to say to students, hey, this required own copy needed texts, it's for use in tutorials or, lecture book or what have you. You can use the student notes to tell students anything you like. And that's another way to just customize your reading list. Clicking on the three dots, I can also add a note for library. These library notes can only be seen by UQ staff members. So you can use library notes as working notes for yourself. You can also use them to communicate to library staff like myself. When we go into the review process, we'll see your library notes, and you can use them to say, hey, move to high use or digitize this chapter, or if you run into any problems, you can use the library notes to talk to library staff. So that's editing bookmarks. Editing these sections here is pretty much the exact same. You do it the exact same way. If I click on the three dots on my section here, I can click edit and change this section. For example, I'm going to make this a week 3 section now instead. If I click on the three dots, I can cut that section just like I did with the bookmark earlier, and I can easily move my sections about. So if I hover here in between my sections and click paste, my week 3 section has now moved. If I click on the three dots, I can also delete the section, but just a heads up, if you delete a section, it deletes everything inside the section. So just make sure you really want to do this before you delete an entire section. But yeah, that's how you edit bookmarks. That's how you edit sections. And once you've made those changes, you're probably thinking, well, how do I add new stuff? When I hover my mouse like so in the reading list, it has this new menu that pops up that says add resource, add paragraph, or add section. If I hover my mouse here, I'm going to add a new week 1 section now that I've moved it away. There we go. There's my new week 1 section. I'm going to hover my mouse here and add a paragraph now. Paragraphs are like student notes, but they're not necessarily tied to an item. For example, we have a paragraph up here, just provides sort of like a nice introduction to the reading list. It's just another way of providing structure and guidance to your students. For example, I'm going to say, please read one of the following. And that's a paragraph. I can hover my mouse here and add a resource. However, before we dive into how to add bookmarks, I'm actually going to pass it along to my colleague Kaya, who'll show you more about that. But I'll pause for any questions, either in the chat or feel free to unmute yourself and ask them out loud. Anything about accessing or editing resources or anything I've shown so far. Okay, looks like everyone's good. No worries. Feel free to pipe up with questions in the chat. Otherwise, looks like Kaya's already started sharing.
Yeah, sorry, I just took over a bit quickly, but thanks, Rachel. So hey everyone, I'm Kaya. I'm gonna be going over creating bookmarks for Talus from some different sources today. I'll go over adding them to your list, and then finally I'll be going over publishing your list. Um, so in Talus, to add resources to lists, we first create bookmarks for them. So these are permanently saved in the My Bookmarks section of Talus, which is basically like our private bank of resources that we can add to lists. So to start adding bookmarks, we recommend first installing the bookmarking extension. So to do this, we just have to browse to the top of any page in Talus, find this My Bookmarks button. We just need to click on through to this page. So this should bring us through to our bank of bookmarks that we've added previously. If you've already been using Talus, you might already have, similar to me, a bunch of resources, bookmarks saved here. If not, don't worry about that. I'll be showing you now how to get a bunch of them added. So to install the bookmarking extension, we just have to find this button on this page, the install bookmarking extension. We just click on through to this. This will bring us to a prompt to go to the web store for our browser of choice. So since I'm currently using Chrome, I'm going to click on to the Chrome link here. This should open a new tab straight to the Chrome web store for the Talus Aspire reading list bookmarking extension. Once here, I just click the Add to Chrome button. Click Add Extension at the top here. Wait for this to install. There we go. It's been installed. And once it's been installed, I just want to pin it to the top bar of my browser. To do this in Chrome, we just open the extensions menu and click on the pin button next to the bookmark. So for the first time, after we've installed the bookmarking extension, if we click on it, it should prompt us to choose our institution. We just want to go ahead and select University of Queensland down here. Here we are. And then click on Save. So once that's done, we should never have to select that institution again. That'll be saved and ready to go. All right. So now that our bookmarking extension's installed and pinned to the top, we're ready to add some bookmarks. So the easiest way to go about this is to find stuff through our library search. So if I've just added a new section called Dragon, I want to find some Dragon related resources to populate this section. Just search for Dragon and have a browse through, look for one I like the look of. I like this Dragon Palace one. You can just click on this to bring up the information. So once I'm at this page, the expanded information, I just want to click on the bookmarking extension on my browser. This should then pull in the metadata of this item. There it is. So that's pulled in all this information here. Once I'm happy with this, I can go ahead and edit it if I like, but I think this is pretty good for now. So I just click on create. So that's now saved this to my bookmarks and it's ready to be added to a list. So if I go back to my bookmarks page from before, I can just click on refresh and this is saved right to the top of my list. So since I had a new section, I might want to add another resource to this section, give it something else. I might search for a different type of resource here, just an article on dragons. Here's one on a Komodo dragon, simply a dragon. Same thing, just open the expanded page, click on the bookmarking extension, and then click on create. So now I've got two resources ready to add to my list. If I go back to our training list from before, I can go ahead and add these straight to this dragon section here, just by hovering in it and clicking the add resource button. So here I've got my most recently saved bookmarks at the top here. So here's my Dragon Palace one. All I need to do is click add to list. So that's now been added to my list. I might set it as required and go ahead and add my second resource. Set that as required as well. Okay, so that was adding resources from the library search. With the bookmarking extension, we can also add resources from almost anywhere around the web. We just have to browse to the page of our choice. So here I've got a Canopy movie open, ready to go. Since I'm at this page already, all I need to do is click on the bookmarking extension again. Let's then pull the information on this page. I'll just click on create. And here I've got a Guardian article ready to be added as a bookmark. So here from the article page, I just click on the bookmarking extension again. And that's now good. I click on create. And now I've got two more bookmarks that I found browsing the web. So I'll show you now adding bookmarks from a couple of our library resources. So first I'll be looking at our Indigenizing Curriculum Resources page. So this page houses a bunch of resources created and curated by the library to assist with indigenizing the curriculum. So I recommend going through this sometime if you get a chance. It's got a lot of helpful information and tools to assist you. What I'm looking for today, though, is the Indigenizing Curriculum reading list. So that's here. I just need to follow this list or this link, which takes me to the list. Here it is. So this is a reading list created by the library with a bunch of curated resources organized by a faculty. So to navigate to relevant resources, we can use this table of contents button at the top of the page. We can find the faculty that we're looking for here. So say I'm looking for a medicine related resource. I can click through to medicine. That's taken me directly to the medicine section of the list. I can then just scroll through, look for a resource I like the look of. So say I like the look of this clarifying cultural safety one. All I need to do to add a bookmark from another list is click on the edit item menu here, scroll down and click on add to my bookmarks. So that should have then copied that bookmark from this list into my bookmarks, so then I can use that bookmark in other lists. So another library resource we can use to add bookmarks is our digital learning hub, which we've just launched. So this is a bank of curated resources such as online modules, interactive activities, and open textbooks that you can use in your courses. So there's a bunch of topics covered in it, such as artificial intelligence and data analysis. So I'm just going to click through on our training page to the Digital Learning Hub now. here it is. We can do a search if we like. We can use the filters to narrow down what we're looking for. So I might just find something that I want to add to my reading list. Use the Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander filter. So I'm looking for a press book. So here's a press book here. So this will take us to the page giving a bit of an explanation about the resource. It's also got some information below on how to use the object in learn.uq. What I'm looking for today to add it to my list is the access object button here. So this should just take me straight to the page for the resource. So here I am. Once I'm here, I just want to click on my bookmarking extension again. That should eventually pull that through. Then I just click on create. All good. So now I've got a bunch of resources I've just saved. I can easily just go back to my list and start adding them as I see. So maybe I want to add my last two resources to the top of the list. There we are. So I might add my press book right to the top. I might make this a required or a needed item there. And give a note for the students. There we go. Might add my cultural safety one. Might just make this one required. And then find the sections for my other ones. Here's the rat section. So I'll add my rat film to this one. Add this one to the list. Just make this one recommended. And then find the pig section. And I'll add my Guardian article here. Just make this one further. All right, so that was using the bookmarking extension and also copying bookmarks from other reading lists. I'll show you now how to manually add a bookmark if you ever need to. So to do this, we just need to go to the My Bookmark section again. So we scroll up to the top of the page, find that button. And if we want to add something manually, we just click on this Add button at the top of the page and click Add Manually. So from this page, you can fill in all the metadata fields yourself. This can be a bit time consuming though. So if you are doing it this way, probably the quickest way to do it is to use the DOI lookup function in this page. So if we have a DOI we want to look up, we can just paste it in. I've just copied one and pasted. All I need to do is click the lookup button here. That's then pulled all the metadata for that resource. I can just click on create. And there we go, that's saved to the top of my bookmarks. All right, so that was creating bookmarks and adding them to your list. I'll now go over publishing a list. So publishing your list is pretty easy to do. There should just be a yellow banner at the top of your list when it's ready, when you've made changes or when it hasn't been published before, just prompting you to publish. So to do so, all you need to do is click this button here. So that's gone through and been published. So once the list is published, as Rachel said earlier, students will start being able to see your list. It'll also start linking to different systems such as the Jack course profile, your learn.uq, and information should be sent to School Locker as well. Us in the library will also go ahead and review the list to ensure access and accuracy. And even once you've published your list, you can keep making changes if you'd like. To say, I forgot to do something here, I've already published it, I actually wanted this article to be at the top. That should then just prompt me to publish again. So once you've finished editing your list, again, it's important to click on publish, so then your students will be able to see the changes you've made. So I'll just click on publish again there. And there we go. So that's my section today. I might just pause to see if there's any questions before handing over to Nat on Blackboard to go over Blackboard linking. Oh, I think that looks okay. Do you want to take over Nat?
Yeah. I'll just share my screen now. Can I just check what you see? Is it a screenshot?
Yeah.
Cool. So to begin with, I wanted to show the reading list analytics, which can be accessed via Course Insights within Blackboard. And then I'm going to demonstrate how to create links in your to your course reading list from the Talis Aspire application in your Blackboard site. So just so you know, the screenshot that you're looking at is just from a test site because we don't have access to analytics from a real course site. So it might look different for when you're looking at your own analytics, but it's accessed by the left-hand menu in your Blackboard course instance site if you have it available in the menu. After selecting that option, there's an interface with for viewing all the analytics for your course, and Talis Aspire is just one aspect of those analytics and can be found in two locations. The first one is the engagement option here, which you can see highlighted, and this displays the engagement against the resources on the Talis Aspire reading list. If you then toggle the student aspect of the menu, it'll show the student engagement option. So it displays individual student engagement with the resources of the list, which could be beneficial for identifying at-risk students. So that's just the analytics part of Blackboard. I'm just going to demonstrate the aspect of linking to the Talis Aspire list within your Blackboard course. So I'll just close this down and you should see now the Blackboard site. This is also a test site, so it probably looks a little bit different from a real course page, but we've tried to set it up a little bit similarly in that we've got weekly folders where you might want to put your content traditionally for that you use for teaching. I'm just in the learning resources section of the Blackboard site, and by default, there's usually a course reading list link there. If it's not there, it might have been removed in the past. You can add it back in if you want, but it's always recommended if you do see it just to click on it and confirm that it's linking to the correct course list and the correct semester. This one's linking to a test training list that we have that Rachel and Kaya have been working on. And if it was the wrong list, you have the option here to click relink, and all then you have to do is type in your course code in the search bar that comes up. It's running me through the authentication process again. So I'm just going to type in train and go back to the same list. And this is a preview of what will be linked. Here you can see the list again. You also have options to select specific sections, but for this link, I'm just going to use the entire list and just click save. So I can just close this tab now once it's saved, go back to Blackboard. So it is useful to also potentially link to specific sections of the reading list. For example, in week 2 folder here, we have a link to the week 2 section, which is probably different now. I'm not sure what this will link to because we've moved the reading list sections around. Yeah, it's an error. So I'll just go back, and if you need to edit it, I think you can click, oh, this is to edit the title. I'll go out of here. If I wanted to add a new link to a Talis section, I just go to build content, scroll down to the Talis Aspire reading list, deep linking option, And again, you'll be presented with a search bar, so you can search for your course code just as before. I'm going to type in training again, and we've got our course training list here, and here you can select a specific section. I'm going to select week 2 rabbit and click to embed the section here. And it's saying it's a success, so I'll close that tab and I'll just reload this page. And here you can see the week 2 training section. So if I click on that link, it should open up to the week 2 section of the reading list. And you can see here. So I'm just going to close this link down. You may find that you don't like the look of the link text, and this is where you can edit the text that displays for the link in the edit option here. So I might want to remove the first part of that and maybe this part too. I don't like that. And click submit. And now it looks a little bit neater. So that's pretty much it. Anytime you want to use the LTI tool to link to the reading list, it's a matter of accessing it via build content, Talis via reading list, deep linking, and then using the search bar that comes up and selecting if you want to link to a specific week or module or the entire list. So I'll just also go over some of the benefits to using this LTI tool to link within to specific sections or to the list. Firstly, it provides a bit of a more simplified process, hopefully just by adding one link, you can link to multiple resources within a section of a list, which could save time and maybe just be a bit easier for managing. So any changes to access that might happen to those resources will be updated via the Talis list, and the library staff will manage that access and those links. So that means that you won't need to be updating those individual links in Blackboard yourself. It'll happen via the Talis list. The LTI tool also gets rolled over with Blackboard when your course instance is copied in the following years or in future semesters. So these links should remain. However, if you do change your Talis list, those links will have to be updated, as you just saw before. So it is recommended just to use the LTI tool for those reasons if you like those benefits. And I will say that this does conclude my section as well of the presentation and also the presentation in whole. So if you have any questions, please add those to the chat or unmute. And I'm also going to share some support information on the screen just now. And I think Rachel will probably put some links in the chat that are also shown on the slide right now. And we hope you have fun using the features that we've shown you today and editing your course reading list. But if you do have any questions or if you need any future assistance, just reach out to any of the contacts on screen. And thanks for coming along today.